Hello dear listeners, welcome to IFFI Audiobooks. Here you can listen to crime, detective and mystery fiction. If you enjoy my content, please consider hitting the like button. It's the only way the YouTube algorithm notices me. After 2 weeks of hard work, I finally got a house in a clean area with 2 rooms on rent at a lump sum. Although only the ground floor was in my possession, I was happy with this because 2 rooms were enough for me alone. Well, let me get myself praised. My name is Edward, I am a government employee. Recently I have been posted here from Michigan because I am not married yet. It seems that I want to escape from the daily chit-chat of my wife and the laughter of children and find complete peace. I want to live a life. Yes, it's just that the heat here is too much. There is a middle-aged woman living in the lower part. This woman looks more like a girl. Her name is Elizabeth. She is a landlady. She has to fulfill almost 100 conditions. After I was allowed to live on rent, we don't talk much. If I ever see her, she says hello. I just don't want to talk to her more than that, but I don't know why I feel like a very important person with Elizabeth. I feel like this. It's as if her caste has some deep secret buried within her. Anyway, she was such a strong personality that I didn't look into her eyes even once in these 11 days and talk to her. When we met for the first time, I tried this. But its eyes felt as if they were like burning embers and a shiver was born in my body. After this I did not repeat this mistake again. There was also a small garden in the back part of this house which was protected with the help of nets. The flowers growing in it were extremely beautiful, especially the purple horn-shaped fruits. Whenever I saw them, I felt like plucking them and inhaling their fragrance to my heart's content, but plucking them was a distant dream. One day I dared to go close to them. Elizabeth Madam has shown her true beauty. A woman can be so desperate just for one flower. I came to know for the first time, however, I forgot that one of the most important conditions was to stay 100 feet away from her garden. After this, I refrained from even getting close to them. According to Mommel, I was coming back from work on my bike. When I saw a crowd of people in front of my door, I parked the bike on one side and joined them. What was happening? Why are you so crowded here? I asked. Who are you? A proud Umar looked at me with surprise and said, I am their tenant, but why have you all gathered here? I gestured towards Elizabeth. Look, young man, this is none of your business. We have gathered here to tell this woman to leave this locality as soon as possible and get murdered somewhere else. We cannot tolerate a murderer here. The same old man said, Murderer, I am blabbering without understanding. You are talking like this, how can you accuse someone like this? I couldn't hide my anger even though I didn't want to. You are new here, boy, you don't know that this woman has to do magic. She does black magic on her husband too, she also does magic. It is a snake, it bites very badly, it is filled with poison. It turns anyone it touches into blue. Ever since I saw this old man and then this woman who was being bitten by a snake, if it is like this then why is he still here? He should be in jail. I was not ready to accept his nonsense under any circumstances. There is poison in a woman. This woman is very vicious. Police could not find any evidence against her, but we are absolutely sure that she is the murderer of her husband and his friend. Now another murder has come out. See, she will not go anywhere from here. You do not have the right to force anyone, so it is better that you quietly return to your respective homes and live yourself. And in order to save others too, I barely sent them to their homes and took them inside myself. But one thing I noticed was that during this entire drama, Elizabeth not only remained silent but she stood there as if she was not present there. Yes, due to this, I was always feeling the difference in people's words and threats. She never once said anything in her opinion, while I, despite being her tenant for a few days, remained close to her as if I had spent half my childhood with her. Yes, you did not even once try to shut the mouth of those people. Why, after all, when looking at you, it does not seem that you would tolerate even a little talk from anyone. She was increasing the limits of her room when I suppressed the question that was stirring in my heart. He couldn't help but look at me with a big smile. What was there in that smile? I got nervous and looked away. Yes, I really don't tolerate a finger being pointed towards me, but have you read the story of Ray Funny's daughters? This is the question. But my head is very busy in this matter. Then just understand that I am two characters of this story. Ray Funny is me and Bettis is also me. You have heard one thing, and in the future you will not meddle in my matter. Stay here. If yes, then learn to mind your own business, and yes, don't even look towards my garden in the future. She went inside, giving a warning once again in a rude manner, while I was caught in a strange confusion. It is strange that I debated with so many people in its support, but what result was achieved? At this time, I needed rest, so keeping all the thoughts from my mind, I left for my room at night. It was 1 a.m. because I couldn't sleep. I was standing along the railing of the veranda. The wind was blowing very strongly. Some part of the garden was visible from the boundary where I was standing, while the rest of the house was hidden behind the house. That was the garden in which Elizabeth's life was probably kept. From where I was standing, those purple flowers were visible. Due to the darkness, they had turned from purple to black. I silently started looking at the flowers hiding their colors in the ink of this night, but then suddenly I saw some human being there. I immediately got scared and moved back from the railing. Whoever it was had plucked a fruit from there and sat at the Baron's door, but as soon as he opened the door, it did not take me time to understand that it was Lisbeth. But at what time of the night she had come and where was she going? This question was troubling my mind badly. I could not go back to sleep even though I did not want to. Instead, I remained standing there because of her. After about 20 minutes she came back and went inside. She went away. I could not see more than this. She had gone down the street to the right. Thinking this, the night passed. When morning came, I got ready for work as usual and started taking out my bike, but then the sound of knocking diverted my attention from the bike. My steps stopped near Lisbeth's room. The door of the room was closed, so I could not find out what this noise was about. I turned but only took 4 steps. I had moved ahead when my eyes fell on a lighted lamp, but it was so high that peeping into someone's room is counted as an unethical act, but the secrets hidden in Elizabeth's cast were inciting me to peep inside, making my nerves quiver. I thought enlightened. Is nearby and placed a chair and climbed on it silently. Lisbeth was sitting in the room, needing something. When I tried to look around, I got confused and got confused. She was sitting with flowers and was extracting their juice one by one. When all the juice was gone, she poured it in a glass bottle and took 2 pieces in her throat. What was there in these flowers that she was drinking their juice? With this thought in mind, I went away from there. This woman is becoming more beautiful than before. When I returned home from work, like yesterday, there was a crowd in the street, but why is there so much crowd here at someone else's door? I asked. Smith was murdered by a man. Someone had poisoned him. Smith was the same old man who yesterday was loudly talking about removing Elizabeth from this locality. After all, who could have killed him? He also poisoned him and used to think all night long. The attention shifted away from Smith's death once again towards Lisbeth, so much so that a thought echoed in my mind in the intensity of Burke. Oh God, what am I thinking? Is Lisbeth the same, Bettia? The thought that came out of my mind was that of the times. What came to my mind was the story of Ripaccini, in which Dr. Ripaccini was a scientist. Instead of making his research useful for the people, he turned it into a danger for them. He devoted a part of his house to a garden. Many Mason flowers were planted there, the effects of which were poisonous. Apart from these, there was also a plant near a spectacle on which purple flowers grew, whose fragrance and juice both were very poisonous. Dr. Ripaccini experimented with this flower on her daughter Patis. And this made her addicted to smelling the flower every day and taking care of it, thus she started becoming poisonous every day. Whatever she touched would wither. She would touch her feet with bare hands, while her father would always wear a mask and gloves to handle the flowers. When all this story came to my mind, I immediately stopped. Dr. Ripa, I am a Chinese. These words of Lisbeth were echoing in my mind again and again. In fact, I was getting the punishment of whipping. Now I felt something. I was beginning to understand nothing, but then I cannot accuse anyone without any concrete evidence. Then I thought, why not pluck this purple flower and do research on it? Thinking this, I went down. It was 3 o'clock in the night. Lisbeth fell asleep at this time. It was easy to get the flower. I wore gloves on my hands and a mask on my face, and also took a handkerchief so that if this flower was really poisonous, I would not put my life in danger. Walking on 2 paws, without making any noise, I opened the door and carried it into the garden, and without wasting any time, I broke it, took it in a handkerchief and came up moving like a cat. Now I was just waiting for Shub to take it to my friend's lab for research. Coincidentally, my friend was also staying in the same place. Bit by bit, it turned into the golden light of the day-night. I prepared breakfast and before leaving for office, went to my friend's lab and gave her flowers. There is a whole story behind it. After some time he called me to his lab. I sat on the chair facing him. There was a table between us, and on the table there was the same purple flower tied in a packet. Now listen to me carefully. My friend scratched his throat. This flower is very poisonous. He was about to say that I spoke. That is, my suspicion was correct. It is really poisonous. Now I understood why Lisbeth used to ask me again and again to stay away from the garden. And why did you go out of the house this day with these same flowers? Oh my God, I held my head while my friend started talking from there. Touching it is not so dangerous, but smelling it can prove to be very dangerous. It can even lead to death. This fragrance can cause something that muffles the brain, nerves of the brain can burst, blood pressure can also become high, and in all these circumstances, one can lose one's life. It affects the whole body for 10 to 12 hours. It is believed that from the moment it is smelled, nothing is felt at this time except the strong fragrance, but after 10 to 12 hours, it starts affecting the brain. It becomes silent after being warned by the poisonous flower itself. That is, it is straight, there is a direct effect on the brain. But what would you like to say about the person who extracts its juice and drinks it? There were a few pieces of this stuck in my mind which Elizabeth had vomited in her throat. My friend smiled at this and said, if a person drinks the juice of this dangerous poisonous flower, as you said, if he drinks 2 drops, it means that he is in danger of poisoning himself. If he drinks 2 drops every day, then his body gets balanced as compared to if he drinks the entire juice just once. It is dangerous to drink it. It is more dangerous to smell it because it directly affects the brain. Sometimes you should experience that if there is a fragrance which is very strong or you like it, then smelling it will make you lose your mind. It will make you dizzy because the fragrance directly affects the brain. But the effect is the style, while eating anything has the effect first on the throat, then on the entire body. And now let me tell you one more secret. My friend said in a royal style, then I started looking at it with my eyes full of curiosity. friend's smile will be deeper than before. There is such a special quality in the path of this flower by which a person can control his increasing age. Isn't it a strange thing, nor is it unbelievable? Yes, really, how is this possible? Well, it came out of my mouth, it is possible. Especially for today's science lovers, everything is possible. There are many people in the world who are using this flower to control their age. One of them is Elizabeth, but due to its use, she is becoming a threat to others. Have you ever heard the story of Ripa Cheney Dyer? I interrupted my friend and said, then just know that Ripa Cheney had experimented on her daughter, but this woman did it on herself, just like Petrus. Whatever he touches goes away, and his existential breath proves to be dangerous for humans as well as insects. Similarly, Lisbeth is also a threat to others. It is better that you pack your bed and find another house, otherwise you too can come under the grip of hatred, friend. The matter was fine, but I could not go like this. I was sure that Elizabeth was behind Smith's death, and now I even believed what people were saying, that is, Elizabeth was the murderer of not one or two but 3 people. I felt this dangerous and vicious person. Everything has to be protected from women, otherwise anyone who raises a finger will be killed by her poisonous flowers. I said goodbye to my friend and left from there. I have to inform the police as soon as possible and then give him the proper research report of this flower. And I had to raid Elizabeth's house so that he could see all the things of Elizabeth with which she used to make poisonous medicines. I did the same. As soon as I came back from work, I went straight to the sheriff's office and told them the whole story, including the report, in 15 minutes. Yes, we all were present at Elizabeth's house. What are you doing? Don't come close to me. Now Elizabeth was badly trapped, leaving her belongings in chaos. She shouted, "You have called me, right? Tell them, you deceitful fool, I will not leave you. Don't you feel ashamed? You are falsely accusing me. I am a single woman. It doesn't mean that someone considers me weak." She came to know that I have come with Sharif, then she started losing her temper, and angry face gave me the same kind of fire for me. With those eyes, she started staring at me. At first I kept thinking that you are innocent, Miss Lisbeth. People blame you without any reason, but you must have made a mistake and that you have spilled your secret out of your mouth. When I wanted to remind her of her mistake, she looked at me with confused eyes. She looked at me as if she was trying to remember which mistake she made and why. Tell me, didn't you tell me that Ripa Cheney is also you and Peters is also you? I agreed, and by raising my eyebrows and reminded them, it was on his head. As if a bomb had burst. Surely she had no idea that by saying this I would be under investigation. This one sentence exposed the secrets hidden in her cast, and in an imperceptible manner she slowly started retreating because the police. The women were wearing masks on their faces and gloves on their hands. Everyone was right in saying that my husband died because of me, but I did not kill him. Because of the poison growing inside me, he also became poisonous, but his body was affected by this poison. Couldn't survive, and he became lifeless. Lisbeth felt proud but was surprised as to how she spoke so quickly. Michael came to know the real reason of his friend's death only then. I asked him for help by saying that I was in trouble. Come to my house. He was a kind-hearted person, and I immediately stirred the juice of poisonous flowers into the juice and made him drink it. The juice was very strong and he died within 24 hours. He died during the journey. Did anyone doubt me? Neither did anyone know that he had come to my house that day. And as for old Smith, it was not a difficult task for me to plant it on the wall of his house. I kept this flower for a few minutes in front of the son of Smith, who was sleeping in his bed, and then I came back. Yes, I took care of it because I cannot tolerate anyone becoming a hindrance in my path. While you have the habit of grinding these flowers to extract their juice, you are now sitting in jail and developing the habit of grinding at a mill. Sharif gestured saying this, and as soon as they received this signal, both the ladies' constables moved forward to handcuff him, but before they could free his hands from the handcuffs, Elizabeth took out the bottle hidden in the room and opened it and poured it all out. All of this was such a joy that no one was there. I could not find out what was in the bottle. Nor could I stop you. You remembered me calling you Petrus, but did you forget what was the fate of Petrus? I stood stunned after hearing this. Did you forget that Petrus was arrested by the police? Had not arrested Prakash, Prakash had died, and that too because of the excesses of one Turiya. Oh my God, that is, Elizabeth had already prepared a Turiya for this situation, but this Turiya came not to save his life, but she was about to take her life, and in no time she fell down and gradually her body started turning blue, such a blue that it has rarely happened to any poisonous person. No one should go near her. Touching her in this condition would prove to be more dangerous than being alive. Maybe Sharif warned all of them while I was standing silent. I did not want a woman to take her life in front of me. I did not want to let her die, but for this, death is better than jail. But how good it would have been if, like Elizabeth Ripa Cheney, she would have made her research on flowers beneficial for the people and not become a source of harm and danger to herself and others. If she had used them properly, i.e. beneficially, then today it would have been the consequences would not have been so bad. Today he would not have had to commit suicide by his own hands. The police kept doing their work while I came upstairs and started collecting my things. Now I had to find a better house to start afresh, but the house I had was the only one. Had to find it, and had to purify it from poisonous flowers. Thank you for listening to IFFI Audiobooks. We hope you enjoyed the story and that it sparked your imagination. If you'd like to hear more exciting adventures, mysteries, and timeless classics, don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon. Stay tuned. See you in the next story.